Hey everybody, welcome to Nette's Cow Emporium. It is day 100 of 100 days
100.
making, growing, and eating our own food. So we thought that we would just take this time to talk to you guys about that. I know you're looking at my lips.
Your lips are fine. They look great.
I put makeup on, just my lips, some lip stuff.
We wanted to look good, so I'm wearing a hat. She's got her lipstick on.
That's a new hat for Glenn.
Yeah.
I've got lip stuff on.
I'm not wearing gumboots.
It's literally the first makeup
dog's
I've
got a
worn
new
since
stick.
the beginning of March. So you guys are welcome. Okay, back on track here. So we're going to talk about our 100 days of making, growing, and eating our own food. And take it away, Glenn.
I'm just going to do a rundown of things we did that worked good and things we did that didn't work so good. Start off with the greenhouse, I guess.
Sure. The greenhouse, it's an okay size. It's possible. I mean, it could be bigger. Who wouldn't like a bigger greenhouse? My problem with it was, to start with, it doesn't hold heat in there. So whatever the temperature is outside, it's that temperature inside the greenhouse. And not that anything in this last 5 months has been exhausting, but it was exhausting setting the alarm for the middle of the night to get up and see what the temperature was doing so we could go start the heater in there. And now, again, because 100 days is our expected frost date, that doesn't mean it's going to happen magically, I hope. Now that I say that, knock on wood. But, it means that I'm worrying about it again, because now it is full of the most glorious tomatoes.
The one thing I didn't like about it, the plastic was easy. We used what we had, but aesthetically it looks loose and it's not the prettiest thing to look at, and that's what bothers me the most. So if we redid the plastic, had maybe double-walled plastic or something different, so aesthetically it would be nicer on the outside. But anyways, it cost us like $150 to build the thing from start to finish, so you don't do much for $150. So.
Nothing, no. And I loved it. I asked for a greenhouse for so long that I just finally gave up. So this was the year. I've also been asking for a cabin.
Well, we could put a wood
we could
stove
sleep in the greenhouse. I knew that was coming. Okay.
So, milking the cow, I guess, was another thing we did.
You started that the end of March, beginning of April?
Yeah, about then. With the COVID thing, we were not going anywhere, so just around home all the time, and that's the biggest problem with the milk cow, is you got to be around twice a day to milk it, and that was not an issue. We were here all the time.
Yeah.
So it saved us some money. We had 4 people, living in the house at the time that all drank a lot of milk. So it saved us a little bit on the milk, but we got really good at making the ricotta salata cheese, and that was a big thing. And also we discovered just how easy it is to make yogurt, and actually homemade yogurt was a super money saver. That was one of the big stars as far as saving money and making your own yogurt. And we made butter. We have lots of butter in storage, but I have a love-hate relationship with butter. It didn't always turn to butter for me as quickly as I'd like to, but it's really good, and it's keeping well in the deep freeze. And yeah, we learned a lot about cheese and tried some fancy stuff there, so I'd say that was pretty good.
I bet. Glenn did almost all the work to start with the milk and the cheese and stuff, but then he taught us how to do it all, so we took our turn.
There was as much and more work in the processing of the milk than there was in the actual milking of the cow. So if for every hour that you milked the cow, you would spend at least an hour and a half processing stuff out of it. So
whether you were just pasteurizing the milk or whether you were making cheese with it. Yeah.
So yeah. Chickens.
We had the first batch of Cornish Giants from June 4th to August 4th was our last butcher. We did the butchering in 2 rounds because it was just Glenn and I, and I mean, it was a big enough day when we did a dozen each day or whatever. And we figured out the cost for those. Now we aren't including in any of this. We're not including paying ourselves necessarily because it was our job during the time we were home and laid off to do this. We felt so that was the challenge, the 100 days, and it worked out to $1.30 a pound is what our Cornish Giants cost us.
Yeah, so that worked out pretty good. One thing that didn't work out good was our turkeys. We have two.
The turkeys, we started with 11 turkeys, and we have two beautiful turkeys.
They're going to be really nice turkeys.
They should have all been just like that, but
it was a bad turkey year.
It was a bad turkey or whatever happened. I mean, we treated all the birds the same, roughly. I mean, special more care to the turkeys because we know they're fussy, but yeah, I said, good. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to get turkeys again.
The laying hens that we raised from chicks, they're a lot longer term process. They're still in the chicken tractor out there, and they haven't started laying yet. They'll probably be another month before they start laying. So it's all been inputs on them, and we haven't gotten anything out of them at this point.
Just entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment. But we do have our older chickens that are a couple of years old that were keeping us in eggs. So, and they're pretty low maintenance. You just throw some feed and water at them, and go out and get the eggs, and it's pretty low maintenance once they're going. But they've started to molt now. This breed molts, and they probably aren't going to lay much until December, yeah. So hopefully these other ones are laying by then.
There's going to be a little bit of time there where we're not going to have eggs for a bit, but I think because these guys are only giving me like an egg a day or every other day now, so that tells me that, and they're starting to lose their feathers. This time, when they molt like that, they look terrible.
Another thing that we got really good at is making our own bread. We use the bread maker to make it up, and then we put it in 2 pans, and it was just as good as store-bought bread.
And the sourdoughs?
Yeah, the sourdoughs are some of my favorite.
Yeah, they were really good. My first sourdough died. It was Frank. I don't know what happened to Frank, but Frank died. And I started a new one. We called her Francine. So, yeah, it's been fun making the sourdough. I got pretty good at it.
Another money saver for us, because here in Canada there's lots of taxes on booze, so making your own wine and making your own cider can save you a fair bit of money going elsewhere. And our wine has been okay, but I think apple cider, we've kind of got that figured out, and it's kind of been a star of just the process of learning here. And we can make it pretty quick, and it's really super yummy, and it's easy, and it's cheap, and it's nice. Gardening.
Okay, so the garden boxes, they rotate through their vegetables for the most part throughout the year, so it's an ongoing maintenance for those. I was really happy with the garden boxes this year. Beside the garden boxes and the greenhouse, we tried growing some corn, and the first corn I seeded didn't come up after a couple weeks, so Glenn reseeded, and it was a couple more weeks before it came up. So it was kind of a month behind, and I think we might only get 1 or 2 cobs out of all the 4 rows of corn.
We're going to need some nice weather to get any corn.
Yeah. But thankfully,
the neighbors had some corn.
Glenn's mom and dad have a great corn crop, so it's nice that we can share vegetables.
Yeah, it's nice and sweet, and it's ready now.
It's gorgeous corn, like beautiful. Yeah, so the summer squashes grew really well. I'm gonna grow the scallopinis again because they're beautiful and delicious, and of course zucchinis again. I don't think I'm gonna grow the crookneck squashes next summer. I had some plants that grew really well and flowered and never produced a single thing, so that was interesting. In the big garden, we had 400 feet of potatoes planted that are half dug now. The reds are still out there. All the carrots are gone. The carrots were all really nice. I'm gonna purposely take my time next year seeding the carrots so that they don't grow so close together. I did thin them out, but it would be nice if I purposely did that. The onions are great. They're still drying. The tops of them are still drying. I expect it'll take another week and a half. And the beets were amazing. I've got all my beets out before they get woody in there, and I froze some. There are some fresh in the fridge, and I pickled some.
With the rain we had this year, we had a pretty dry spring, and then we got about an inch of rain more or less every week, kind of over the summer. So it just kept things really nice. It never really got soaking wet. It was just kind of perfect growing conditions. When it got a little dry, we were able to water a little bit just to keep on top of it. And then it was really good until up about the last month, and then it just quit raining and it got hot and dry and windy, and that was it. But pretty well everything in the garden was done growing at that point, so it was perfect for harvesting potatoes and onions and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a good year for that.
The other thing that I was so impressed with is my cabbages. Glenn helped me. We made a cabbage tunnel for them using some garden fabric cloth, and it kept the flea beetles and the cabbage moss out of there that would like to eat the brassicas. And I had the most gorgeous cabbages. I had 68 pounds of cabbage, and so we have tons and tons of sauerkraut.
Oh, we love sauerkraut. Never used to, but boy, I like it now.
Oh, sauerkraut! Yeah. As we get older, our taste buds change a little bit. So the sauerkraut
putting
is
it
delicious.
On everything.
And I froze some cabbage, just to unthaw and use for stir fries or
what did we have?
Whatever.
Hot potato salad with that?
Yeah, we had a hot potato salad with some sauerkraut and salsa on it.
Yeah, it was surprisingly good.
It
doesn't sound good, but it was really good.
I think we could put the sauerkraut and the salsa on anything.
Yeah.
I've been making the zucchinis, onions, and tomatoes into salsa, so I'm done now, but it's a delicious recipe.
So we still got stuff that's out there that's not in yet. There's our tomatoes, they haven't been harvested yet. What else is still out there?
The spaghetti squashes, there's still some summer squashes going. The 200 feet of the red potatoes, the tops aren't quite dead yet, so I didn't want to take them out. Tomatoes, there's some green beans growing in the garden still, and the scarlet runner beans. We're not eating those until they're dried, and then we're going to store them for using over the winter time. So that's mostly what's left in my side of the garden.
We've got, we put in about 2 acres of just some wheat for some chicken feed that when we get done combining the barley, we'll just pick that up and we'll have chicken feed for a couple of years and maybe a little bit to grind for this fall.
For some flour.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And, well, somebody has an idea for what to do this winter, and they've kind of been preparing for it. I don't know if she wants to drop
a hint there.
Drop a hint there.
Well, I was just kind of wondering, how much food a person would need to survive the winter eating only what you grew. So the whole point of the 100 days was to see what we could grow and bring in harvest within the 100 days. Clearly, we still have stuff we're going to harvest, but I wanted to do it within our frost dates. So we, so how much food would we need to grow if we only ate what we grew ourselves over the winter?
Sounds fun. Stay tuned.
Sounds fun. Stay tuned. Now, so, people might think, so we are Glenn and Nette's Cow Emporium. Clearly, we raise Alberta beef, and yet we don't necessarily eat it. So we would.
It's the best beef in the world, but it's better
it's
for
worth
us.
A lot of money.
It's worth a lot of money, and if we can sell it and pay the mortgage, that's important.
So yeah, like we have off the farm jobs. Actually, Glenn doesn't. He decided not to go back driving bus, but I work as an educational assistant in the schools currently, and so I am back to work, and Glenn is staying at the farm, but. Like, we work off the farm jobs to help pay the bills, so we would really like to eat our own beef, but it's nice to have those dollar bills in the bank.
Yeah, occasionally when we're feeling flush, we'll get one butchered. Or sometimes we'll make an older one into hamburger or something, depending on the markets. And,
and we have butchered our own here.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. But I mean, right now it's better for us to be able to sell them. Not that we love to eat beef, but so that's what we're doing with the turkeys and the chickens is, providing ourselves with some homemade protein source over the winter. And yeah, people have thought we're lost our minds a little bit, because we worked our butts off this year by our own choice, and it was really fun. And in case you haven't noticed, it's okay to say, Glenn and I look great between the two of us. We've lost 70 pounds, so kudos to us.
Oh, yeah, it's all that. They were a little worried when people were saying, "Oh, you're eating all that fresh milk and cream and butter and bread and everything. You're going to gain weight." But with all the work there is to putting it together, no.
In fact, I haven't purposely exercised in months, and now that I'm back to work and doing less here, I'm gonna have to get up in the morning and exercise again. So, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, it's been fun and we've learned a lot.
It's been fun. I got to hang out with my best friend every day.
Me too.
And so, I'm gonna cry. Don't cry. That's cheesy. I'm such a sap. Anyway, we appreciate all you all who have watched our 100 days of making, growing, and eating our own food videos. You guys are the best. And we will still show you, what we've been up to with the harvest and stuff. That's not over yet. And Glenn is combining. He had a couple of major breakdowns with the swather, but swathing is done now, and he's on to combining. So look forward to those videos coming to you soon. Swathing and combining.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
So there's a square. Does that mean it's recording? Yeah. Okay. So I'm not supposed to say anything bad. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is the dog behind us?
Yeah.
Okay. The lights.